Hello, this is Chip Benight from the National Institute for Human Resilience, and I'm back again with another video podcast for you. And today I'm going to talk about goal setting and the importance of goal setting and how it can help us increase our mood, create a sense of control. During this pandemic experience that we're all facing, luckily we're starting to move back out into some sense of normalcy, but there's still a good amount of stress and concern that a lot of people are having, especially financial stress right now for many who've lost their jobs and some that are currently losing their jobs or facing furloughs. And so, thinking about goal setting at this time can be really helpful because what goals do for us, if we set them correctly, is they give us a sense of mastery. They improve our sense of moving forward on important things that are valuable to us. So that could be something as simple as increasing some exercise. It could be focusing on nutrition, self-care such as relaxation, meditation. It can even be focusing on relationships, setting a goal to spend more time with a loved one or focusing on the kids, making a phone call to them and things like that. So goals are really important for us, and one thing to think about when you're setting a goal is to make it observable and measurable. So for example, one of the things that happens a lot for people with goals is they make them very ambiguous, very large sometimes, like I want to get in shape or I want to eat better, things like that, which are great, aspirations, but that's not a really specific goal. So it makes it difficult to know when you've done it, and therefore it makes it harder to self-regulate around that, to really take credit, if you will, for having done it. And it's the experience of having achieved a goal that makes us feel good about ourselves. If we value that goal, if it's important to us, if it's a relational goal, it makes us feel good in a lot of different ways. So number one is to set a goal that's measurable and observable. And number two, be specific about your goal. For example, saying you're going to increase exercise, that's relatively observable if you're moving more than you're doing it, but it's better if you can get it more specific. Like, I'm going to exercise 3 times a week, for example. I'm going to go out and walk around the block or take a hike or ride a bike or any of those things. I'm going to do it for 20 minutes, for example, and I'm going to do it in this location, such as I'm going to go down on the Santa Fe Trail, or I'm going to hike up on one of the trails over near the Intamin Trail in Manitou or something like that. When you get specific about goals, it can become more of a habit for you because you're detailing out exactly what's going to happen. And we know from scientific research that if you set those specific intentions like that, you're much more likely to actually do the goal, to do the behavior. So you want to be doing a measurable, observable goal, but also a very specific goal. And when I work with clients on this type of thing, I actually get kind of overboard with the specificity, like what clothes are you going to wear, what shoes are you going to wear, what time are you going to do this. And the more specific you can get like that, the more likely you are to do it. So right now, when there's so much difference in our lives from our normal routines, it's even more important to get specific about your new goal. So, of course, measurable, observable, specificity, with whom you might do that goal. Obviously, we have to have social distancing still, or should, and just to be safe and healthy. But you could take a walk with a friend and keep 6 feet apart, and be careful about that. But having somebody else to do the goal with, maybe it's somebody who lives in your house, like taking a walk with your spouse or with your kids. Obviously, that's healthy and safe. And also it helps you to have a social connection related to the goal. So I often say when, where, with whom are very important components to a goal. Next is to make that goal 99.9% achievable. Often people set goals that are just too high. We have good aspirations, we have good ideas that we really want to be in shape, we really want to eat better, get more sleep, those kinds of things, meditate. The problem is that we set goals too high, and then when we can't achieve those goals, we feel a sense of failure and discouragement. And when that happens, everything that we're trying to do, which is raise mood, feel more sense of control, goes the opposite direction. And that's not good, and that's not what we want right now. So think about that in terms of how you're setting the goal in terms of achievability. So if you haven't been exercising a lot and you want to start exercising, do it in a way that's very achievable. So, there are these fit apps that you can get online now that help to track what you're doing, so that can be useful. And then set something like, instead of 10,000 steps, which everybody says you should do, which may or may not be scientifically validated how helpful that is. It's moving is better no matter what. And so if you want to do 4,000 steps, or you've not been doing hardly anything, do 1,000 steps or something. But do a goal that can be observable and achievable. And maybe it's meditating. Instead of saying you're going to meditate for an hour a day, 5 days a week, and you haven't been doing it at all, set it so it's like twice this week. And then take note of doing it. Make a note in a diary and on a piece of paper that you put up on the fridge. Put it on in your iPhone, in your Android phone, whatever kind of phone you have. But take a note of it that you've actually achieved that goal. And then the reason for doing that is two things. One, you'll feel good about it at that moment. But number two, you can track yourself over time. And then what we want to do is wrap around a reward for you that can make you feel better about having done those goals over time. So it could be that after a weekly goal of, let's say, exercising 3 times, and you've done that, you give yourself some reward. Now, this is the most interesting thing for me in our culture, is that we're very hard-driving culture with a sort of inner perspective that we should be doing things just because we should be doing them. And when I talk to clients about this, they often will say, well, I just need to motivate myself. I just need to do it. I know I need to do it, so I just need to do it. And I often have to sort of say, wait a minute, you haven't been doing it. So there's a lot of reasons why. There's other competing needs and demands, and you're tired and this and that, to kids, and there's a lot of reasons why we don't do things that we're supposed to do. So I really advocate for setting a reward for yourself that can be something that makes you feel good about doing it. That could be spending time on the phone with a loved one that you haven't really talked to for a bit, and that you share with them what you're doing. It could be having a nice meal, a special meal, for example. Some of our usual things that we might do right now are a little bit curtailed, like going to the movies or things like that. But just try to find something that you know you really want. And the key with that is that you don't give it to yourself when you haven't achieved the goal. So you want to be able to give yourself the reward when you've actually accomplished it. And there's 2 types of rewards. There's a primary sort of reward and a secondary reward. Primary is something that immediately when you give it to yourself, you really like it. For example, eating. Eating is a primary reinforcer. So we like things like chocolate, we like sweet things, salty things, that kind of thing. Obviously, we don't want to blow up our nutrition when we do this, but thinking about something like that, a nice cup of coffee that you really, really like, something special, it's important to try to have it not be something that you normally would have. A secondary reward is something that needs to be translated, like money. Money by itself isn't that interesting, but it's what we do with it that really helps us and that we like. So, saving money in a jar every time you do a behavior or a goal, and then as that accumulates after a week, after a month, set up something that you're going to buy at the end of that. And you want to make sure you set it up so you know what you're going to buy, not wait until the end and then think about it, because we know that if you're thinking about, like, you're going to get some music, or you're going to order something special that you've wanted to get, you want to have that in your mind when you're doing your behavior that you're trying to engage in, so that it's rewarding for you, it's reinforcing for you. So kind of in review again, why set goals at all? Well, because they make us feel like we're more in control of our environment, because we're accomplishing things that are important to us. And at this time, when there's a lot of things still outside of our control, it can just help us feel a little bit better. So it can increase mood. It can make us feel a sense of mastery. Second, when we set up goals, we want to do some real specific things. You want to be setting up something you can observe, know that it's happening. 2, that it's measurable. 3, that it's specific, and kind of be sort of really detailed about how specific you are, with whom, when, where, and so forth, what time. And then evaluate it, jot it down, make sure you monitor it so you know you're doing it. And then also have some sort of reward for yourself for accomplishing those goals. And if you do those things and you set up maybe even a contract for yourself where you write down, I will, during this time, on these days, do such and such, and I'll give myself this reward at the end of a week, and so forth and so on, you can find yourself achieving some new things right now during a difficult time. So I hope this short video podcast on goal setting has been useful for you. And I'll be back in the future here with another one. I'll be interviewing a spiritual leader in the community soon on spiritual wellness, so that'll be coming. And I look forward to talking to you then. Have a great day.